Today we're making brown butter turkey meatballs and crispy sage smashed potatoes. Hi, I'm Angie. Welcome back to Dinner and a Side, where my sister and I share our favorite dinner combos. We're making a main dish and a side from our separate kitchens. Follow along and you'll have dinner on the table in no time. Turkey meatballs are the perfect thing to make for dinner when you're short on time. They're healthy, packed with flavor, and super juicy on the inside. Pour a little browned butter over the top and they suddenly become irresistible. I was particularly excited to make this recipe this week because of all the abundant sage that I have growing in my arrow garden. Raw sage can be really bitter and it has a very strong taste. I don't really like eating it like this. You probably don't either. But if you fry sage leaves, they turn into this crispy, nutty, delicious topping that you can sprinkle onto just about any dish. And we're gonna put it in our turkey meatballs and on our potatoes today. I'm gonna start us out today by making the crispy sage. As I said, this is gonna go in both the main dish and the side dish. In a large skillet, heat a tablespoon of cooking oil and then add the sage leaves. They should start to soak up the oil and sizzle a little bit. Keep a close eye on them. Cook them just until they're crispy because you don't want them to burn. Then transfer them to a paper towel to cool. I'll give about half of these to Angie and keep the rest for the potatoes. Here you go. Thanks. You know, I could get used to this. Okay, we'll need to preheat the oven to 425. And then we'll grab a baking sheet with some parchment paper to put the potatoes on. Pour the broth into the pot, then add the potatoes. And I'm using these medium-sized Yukon Gold potatoes. You can cover the potatoes with a little extra water if you need to. You want it to come about ½ inch above the potatoes. And then we're gonna let this boil for about 10 to 15 minutes. And this depends greatly on the size of your potatoes. Mine are kind of small today, so it's probably only gonna take about 10 minutes. I'll come back and check them. But in the meantime, Angie's gonna get started on the meatballs. These sage leaves smell amazing. We're gonna crunch up half the leaves to put into the turkey meatballs. But first, let's mix up the meat. Add the ground turkey, egg yolk, breadcrumbs, Parmesan cheese, garlic. I've got to tell you, the lemon zest is where the magic happens in this recipe. It turns these meatballs into something extra special. Salt and pepper. Then add about half the sage. Mix it until just combined. You don't want to overmix it because that can lead to dense meatballs. Form the meatballs, rolling them gently between your palms, again making sure not to overwork them. I'll finish these up. Laura's about to get the potatoes in the oven. I'm just going to drain the potatoes and then I'm going to let them sit for about 10 minutes. Once they've lost most of the moisture and the steam coming off of them, you can then put them on a baking sheet. Use a potato masher or a cup, like I'm doing, to smash each potato. Make them as thin or as thick as you like. Once they're all smashed, drizzle the olive oil on top of each potato. Make sure you get them all. Each one needs a little bit of butter. This is what makes the edges super crispy. Now you can sprinkle the Parmesan onto each potato. I like to grate it really fine so that it melts really well. The already grated stuff you can get at the store tends to be a little bit rough and it's hard to melt. Put a nice amount on each potato. Then add some fresh thyme. I get mine out of the garden. It is delicious. Then I've crumbled up the crispy sage and I'm gonna sprinkle that on top as well. Okay, now we're just gonna bake these until they are crispy and golden around the edges. That'll be about 25 minutes. So back to you, Angie. Okay, let's cook the meatballs. Pour the cooking oil into the skillet over medium-high heat. Once it's hot, add the meatballs. You wanna get them nice and brown on all sides, so occasionally move them around in the pan a bit. This will take about 10 minutes. While the meatballs are cooking, I'm gonna get started on some browned butter sauce. We're gonna use that for the meatballs and the potatoes. Hey, butter makes everything better, right? Well, those are words to live by. Thank you, Julia Child. By the way, in case you missed something or you want to check out all of the ingredients, you can find the full recipe in the description. When you're browning butter, it's best to use a light colored pan so that you can see the progress and you don't over brown it. Place the butter in the pan over medium heat. Allow it to melt completely. Once it's melted, the butter will begin to bubble and foam. That's the water content evaporating. Whisk it a little to prevent it from burning. After a few minutes, the butter will start to change color from yellow to golden brown. You'll also notice a rich, nutty aroma. Smells so good. This whole process takes about 5 to 8 minutes, but make sure to watch it really closely because it can go from brown to burnt really quickly. I like to remove it from the heat a little before it's where I want it, since it'll continue to cook a little bit. The meatballs are done. You know, I really wish you could smell it in here. It smells so good. So now we're ready to plate it. Lori, you ready? Yes, the potatoes are done. Oh yeah, they look so great. Look how crispy the edges got. Yum. Let's serve this great meal family style. Then I can pour the brown butter over the top of the whole dish and sprinkle on the rest of the crispy sage leaves. Doesn't this look amazing? And it smells amazing too. The brown butter is definitely stealing the show today. Thank you for watching. If you're looking for even more great dinner ideas to try, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified of our next video.